Welcome back to another live and amplified Indie Fusion podcast. I'm your host, Tom Quat, and we're back at it again with another amazing podcast. Today, we have a very special guest joining us for our pancreatic cancer fundraiser. We have Hillary Stanton. How's it going today?
Good, doing good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we just realized that we're a lot closer connected than we probably realized when we first started
Yes.
talking.
Small world, small world.
Oh, yeah. It's I love interviewing Texas artists because there's so many of them and they
There
come,
are.
some of them are born raised, true Texan. Some of them moved here when they were really young, and it's just like it's really cool to kind of get to meet the whole lot of you. So
Yeah, yeah.
awesome. So how's everything going? You just released your a new single back in July,
I
correct?
did. I did. It was my very first solo single. Um, and I just kind of, it's a cover of the Keith Whitley tune from the late 80s. And
Hmm.
I grew up on that kind of music when country was still just really, really country, and the songs told a story. And so when I decided I'm going to record something and I want to release a song, I kind of wanted that to be my first one, to kind
Hmm.
of record something that showed, where my roots started. So Keith Whitley has always just been such a huge influence for me. So
That's and as him being Keith Whitley being a huge influence, that's kind of why you chose or why did you choose this song specifically, I guess is the better question to ask.
This song, I remember being a kid and driving down the road with my dad in the pickup truck, and
Mhm.
he used to play this song all the time. And my dad passed away 5 years ago, so that's a big reason why I chose this song.
Mm, fair. I completely understand.
Yeah.
Um, so you said this is your first solo release. What were you kind of doing before then? I'm guessing you were in a band or
Well, I still am.
oh.
In January of 2020, I started my own band
Hmm.
called Texas High Road, and we still play every weekend. But with Texas High Road, we released two singles with our band.
Hmm.
So I'm Over You was just kind of me um, releasing a solo song, just myself,
Hmm.
aside of Texas High Road.
Fair enough. And how do you feel after getting this first solo one out?
I love it. It was really cool. I sing backup vocals in a recording studio um, quite a bit, and so it was neat. It was neat to go into the same recording studio and record my own song with the same producer that I work
Mm.
with all the time. So it was neat.
It was a nice change of pace.
It was completely different.
Nice. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Uh, so what's kind of looking back at you said 2020 is when you started
Texas High
your
Road.
yeah, Texas High Road.
Mhm.
Were you in bands prior to that as well, or was that kind of your first jump into the music business?
Oh no. I started singing professionally when I was 6 years old.
Oh wow.
Um, and I say professional, I got my first paycheck for singing when I was 6 years old.
Nice.
I started singing at a show here in the Metroplex called Johnny High's Country Music Review.
Mhm.
Um, Funny story. When I was 6 years old, I tried out for a talent competition um, at a mall here in Fort Worth,
Mhm.
and I tied for first place with another little girl that was my age. You might have heard of her, Leanne Rhymes.
Oh wow.
So in the audience at that competition was a man named Johnny High, and he decided to take a chance on me. At the time, I was not singing country music. I sang a Celine Dion song,
Mm.
um, and he said, "Come see me, but bring a country song." So I showed up and I sang "Crazy," and he said, "All right." And I sang on that show every weekend for years and years and years. Um, uh, and if it weren't for him taking a chance on me, I don't know if I'd be singing today. But when I was 17, I moved to Branson, Missouri, and I sang on a show out there. And immediately after that, I moved to Nashville, and I did the Nashville thing for about 5 years.
Nice. That's really
Yeah.
cool. I think a lot of people tend to forget Branson, Missouri has a
Mhm.
really, I'm gonna say a really interesting music scene because it's a lot of like there's a lot of opportunities to play music out there.
Oh yeah. Oh
So
yeah. I was at the time. I mean, it's been many years since I was
mm,
out there, but at the time I sang on the biggest show out there. It was the Shoji Tabuchi show. He was a
oh well,
a Japanese fiddle player.
nice. That's
Yeah.
really, and you said you were out there for 5 years?
I was in Nashville for 5 years. I was
Oh,
in Branson for one.
oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And then you just missed Texas enough and it was
I
time to come
did.
back home.
After being gone for so long, I got really homesick, and so I moved home. I met my husband, and I have 3 kids, um, and I really just kind of took a break from music. I was
Mhm.
full time mom, and um, in 2019, my dad very suddenly passed away, and it kind of lit a fire in me. It
Mm,
showed me how short life really is. And I said, "What are you doing? God gave you this gift, and you're not doing a dang thing with it." So,
mm,
um, I that's when I said, "Okay, I'm going to start my own band." And I had never started my own band before. I had always been a hired gun, where I would get called to come and be on somebody's show or come sing backup for somebody. So this was brand new territory for me. Um, so I had to learn, how to do it all.
oh
But
yeah.
it's been awesome. It's been so fun. I mean, um, we have 2 shows this weekend. We have one next week. And then the first week of December, we have 5 shows just that first week.
Wow.
So
You're staying busy.
very busy. Yeah.
Oh man, that's really cool though. I feel like getting the call to work with other people kind of
Hmm.
gave you exposure to the music industry to make the transition a little bit more seamless, I guess is kind of the best way I want to word
Yeah.
it. Uh, and I would hope maybe it gave you a couple of favors in your back pocket if you needed to call
It
on.
did. It
Yeah.
did. That it did. That has been that's been a fortunate thing for me, because
Mhm.
if a band member of mine is going to be out of town for a certain show, then I can call musicians that I used to play with at Johnny Haas Country Music Review and say, "Hey,
Yeah.
can you fill in?" And they're like, "Yeah, I'll be there."
Yeah.
So it's very nice.
Yeah. It's nice to have those favors in your back pocket, but right now I'm
Mhm.
in the process of paying back some of the favors that I've called in my life. And so it's just like, yes, I'll be there. Okay, fine. Yes.
Yeah,
And
it works both ways.
it does. It really does. But
Absolutely.
you know what though? It's fine. I wouldn't be where I am if I hadn't asked for favors here and there. So
Yep. You
yeah.
bet. You bet.
Uh, so I'm Over You is your current single. How
Hmm.
what was the how what was the experience like for you? Obviously, you'd mentioned like going into the studio and
Hmm.
getting a reverse of roles where you're not just singing background, but you're singing lead and like this is your
Right.
deal. But
Yeah.
how long did it take you to record I'm Over You? Like how obviously with the cover song it's a little bit different, but how did the
Right.
kind of the whole process how long did the process take?
Um, we recorded all of the musicians, all of the vocals, background vocals, all of it was done in just a few hours.
Yeah.
It was a very quick thing. But to be honest, I sat on it. I kept After it was mastered and mixed and everything, I sat on it because I was like, gosh, am I ready to release a song by myself? I've
Right.
never done this. Am I too old for this? I'm 42. I'm not a spring chicken. um, and I just one day I was like, if I don't do it now, I'm never going to do it.
Hmm.
So I
Oh,
went onto my computer and I said, okay, here we go. Here goes nothing.
yeah.
And I didn't hire a radio promoter. I didn't hire anybody to help, put this, get streams or anything like that. I've done it all myself.
Nice.
And it has over 5,000 streams. So, considering I've done all of the PR myself, I'm pretty proud of that.
Oh yeah, I would be too. Like, I mean, you're absolutely crushing it. Like, I came across your page by just doing Instagram searches, so that's you
Well,
know,
good.
your exposure, your SEO, your, like whatever it is you're doing is working at least on Instagram. So
Well, awesome. That's good to hear. Thank you.
yeah. So kind of looking forward, obviously you said you
Mhm.
got a whole bunch of shows coming up, but where
Yep.
are you kind of at creatively? Are you working on your next song? Are you looking at your next song? Where are you kind of
I
at?
am. I actually co-wrote my very first song just this, well, two of them just this year. I of all the years in Nashville and all of that, I never really even tried to write, which now I look back and I'm like, what was I doing? um, but so I am planning to go into the studio in the next few months, and I have a few songs that I'm gonna record. So hopefully by spring or summer of 2025, I'll have an original to release.
Nice. And I take it you're gonna record it in Fort Worth?
Yes, Fort Worth Sound. That's the studio that I do backup at, and um, it's a great studio.
Nice. That's really cool. And you keeping it all Texas, and it just like, especially with what Fort Worth has going on right now in their scene. Like, I have a lot of friends that live and play up in Fort Worth, and then they come down to Waco or Bluffdale, or like any of the small communities outside of
Right.
Fort Worth, and they're like, there's just a whole thing going on up there, which is really cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I love
uh,
it.
yeah, for sure. It's cool. It's really cool. So just kind of looking at that, you said next year is probably when you'd have it out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. My plan is to get into the recording studio either January or February.
Okay. Sweet. And then
Yeah.
in between then it's focus on your shows.
All the shows. Yep. We're booking for next year already. So
Man,
yeah.
that's good. It's hard to book shows. I've just recently found this one out myself, how hard it is to actually book shows, because it's like it's not as just as easy as reaching out to a promoter and saying, "Hey, I want to play."
No.
It
And
it
that's one of the things I really had to learn when I started my band was uh I have to, you have to be a go-getter.
Mhm.
Um, there's some weeks where I send out 75 emails,
Oof, yeah.
to different venues, booking agents, and and a lot of those emails do not get answered.
Hmm.
That's just part of it, but I am um, very persistent. I am not good at taking no for an answer. So if they don't respond, then I give it a couple months and I email them again, you know.
Nice.
And I've booked a lot of gigs that way where they're like, okay, we'll take a chance on you. And then we're there all the time. They
Yeah.
see, okay, they really are good.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I do all of our my band's booking myself. Uh,
Nice.
yeah, except for just a few corporate gigs here and there, but the majority of them I do it all myself. I do all the contracts, the invoice, all of that stuff.
Nice.
So
That's the next step that I'm worried about, or not worried about, but I haven't even started to look into, is the whole contract side of things. And yeah, it's just like, let's keep the shows at a handshake at this point, and I'll be content. And then once
yeah,
contracts are needed, we'll figure that out. So
yeah. Well, the bigger gigs you get, you want a contract so that
yeah.
they can't the day of cancel on you and then you're in trouble.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. It's and it keeps them, because I just had somebody on the podcast earlier that they were talking about shows and the struggle of getting paid off of those shows, because the promoter was skipping town or leaving early and not paying them or whatever.
Oh no.
I'm sure you've heard a million of those stories, but as
Uh,
yeah,
I'm lucky that has not happened to me.
yeah,
I'm the second I'd get done with our show, I hope for payment.
yeah,
Or I require a deposit up front for the private events.
yeah.
But we've been lucky.
Nice. That's really cool. So, kind of looking outside of music, what do you like to do? Obviously, you'd mentioned you have a few kids and whatnot,
I
but
do.
what do you like to do outside of music?
I have 3 kiddos. I love spending time with them. My oldest is a senior this year. So I hardly see her anymore. She's always gone. But I love taking my kids to the park. I love working out. I go to the gym a lot.
Mm,
Um, and then writing. I have a write scheduled for tomorrow. So
nice.
that's kind of what I do these days.
Nice. And you're talking when you say writing, you're talking like music writing, right?
Yes, I have a
Okay.
writing session with 2 other songwriters tomorrow.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's really cool. How's your inspiration been coming along these days? Have you been find yourself being more inspired or less inspired right now?
More.
Mm,
Now that I have kind of been introduced to it and I've gotten my feet a little wet, now I keep having all these ideas um, and I have to keep a little notebook so I can keep writing them down, and that way whenever we have a write, I can throw some ideas. And
mhm.
the writers that I've been writing with, they're great. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, here, let's do this. And they, help turn into a song within 15 minutes.
Yeah.
It's, to me, it's still just so cool to watch, to see how a song can form, just off a couple of ideas.
Hmm. Yeah. It's really it's amazing how quickly it can just go from nothing to everything. And all it took
Yes.
was that one note, that one cadence, that one word, that one lyric, and it just changes the entire trajectory of a song.
Yes, absolutely.
So it's it's been really inspiring to watch from my perspective, especially back in the day when we would do like acoustic sessions with musicians out of New Mexico, because that's where I was living at the time. And every once in a while, just randomly during the recording, somebody would get an idea for a new song because something that we said or something we were doing,
Hmm.
and you just see them in their little notebooks, like, I'm gonna write
Yeah.
this down. So
Yeah. Well, and you never know, like, if you can't think of something right then, something else might pop up and like, hey, I can put those together. That
mhm,
works.
absolutely.
So, yeah.
And it's like, even though it makes no sense right now, give it a year, it might make
Yep.
sense then.
It
So
will.
yeah. So you said you've got some shows coming up.
Mhm.
Where are you getting ready to play it?
This Friday, we are playing at the Riverwalk in Flower Mound
Hmm.
from 7 to 10. And on Saturday, we are at LSA Grandscape, and that one's 5:30 to 8. And then next week, the day after Thanksgiving, I have a show at Lost Oak Winery in Burleson, and I'll be
Nice,
playing there from 5 to 8. So,
nice. I will be driving to Tucson on that one. So
oh, nice. Okay.
yeah, it's we picked up a live podcast gig out there, so it's like, all right, I guess day after Thanksgiving, I'm going to Tucson.
There you go. There you
Sweet.
go.
Yeah. Uh, I'm not looking forward to the drive, but it won't be that bad because it'll be broken up. I'll stop in New Mexico and pick up my buddy, and then we'll go to Tucson from there. So
Hey, it's an adventure.
yeah, 100%. Uh, so looking forward, obviously, you said you're hoping to get back into the studio at the end of the year,
Mhm.
which that's absolutely incredible. I can't wait to hear more music from you and original music, because that's what I really love to listen to is like
Mhm.
original music. And just I'm really excited to hear what you got coming out in 2025.
Yeah, I can't wait. I
Yeah.
can't wait.
But I do want to thank you for joining us for our pancreatic cancer fundraiser. This is a thing that is very near and dear to my heart. I lost my mother in 2021 to pancreatic cancer. So
Oh,
it's
I'm so sorry.
yeah, that's why we do this, and I appreciate every musician that comes out and just does what my mother loved watching me do, which
Yeah.
was very interesting because like towards the end there, I was living with them, kind of helping my dad out,
Hmm.
and she would l- listen to my side of the pod. Like I would still do the podcast occasionally during that time because I was there for like 3 months and I didn't want the podcast to completely die. And so she would
Right.
listen to like my side of the conversation because obviously she couldn't hear what the other person was saying.
Right. Right.
And so she would talk to me the next morning because by the time I got done, she had gone to bed or whatever. and she'd be
Mm-hmm.
like, "Hey, how did your podcast go? Where was she from?" And just like all the stuff that she knew I asked or whatever. And yeah,
Oh,
so
well, I'm so sorry for your loss.
yeah.
My mother-in-law passed away from pancreatic cancer in 2006.
Oh well,
Unfortunately, I didn't get the chance to meet her, and she passed away 2 weeks after my oldest daughter was born.
oh well.
Yeah, it was a quick, um, kind of a quick passing, but
Mm.
yeah, it's a praying for a cure.
Yep. And that's what we're hoping to help with in some kind of way, because obviously research and all that stuff. And
Right.
it's quick, like you said. Like I think for my mother, it was 3 months after she got diagnosed. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and very quick. So
Yeah.
um but I do appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining us. If anybody wants to check out your music, upcoming shows, social media, all that fun stuff, where's the best place to find you?
Thanks. On Instagram, it's Hillary Stanton Music. I'm on Facebook as well. You can also check out my band Texas High Road
Mm,
under Texas High Road Music, or you can check out our website at texashighroad.com.
awesome. Awesome. Well, Hillary, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. Thank you everybody for tuning in, and we will be
Yep.
back here in a bit.
Thanks for having me.